My guest is Trevor Shannon, and Trevor is the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Roanoke. Trevor, we want to talk about severe weather, which happens in the summer, and summer's just around the corner. Let's start by talking about what are things we can do to prepare for a potential summer event, storm event.
Sure. Thank you. So first of all, one of the things that we're always concerned with is your preparedness kit at home. And we encourage everyone to have a preparedness kit in their home. And that can start with something as small as a 5-gallon bucket with some preparedness supplies. And it can grow to whatever it may be. It may be 3 shelves in your basement or in your storage closet, whatever that may look like. But you can get a lot of the things that you need for it at a local Family Dollar store type store, and start building that kit. Within that kit, ultimately we would tell you to have a weather radio, and you can get those wherever you may find one, $15, $20, but very handy if you lose power, you're really trying to monitor a weather condition, a storm that's coming, whatever it may be. With that preparedness kit, you can also prepare your home, clear dead limbs of trees away from the home, clear your gutters, your roadway of leaves that may be in the, cause flooding or water backups. And then, insurance. Insurance is another thing that you can make sure you check on and follow up with your insurance agent and make sure you have the coverage you would need in case we do see flooding or anything like that. And that's usually the insurance piece is pushed out towards the coastal areas a lot of times, but it's not a bad idea locally to continue, checking that and making sure you have what you would need in the event of an emergency. And then also maintaining all your paperwork, your family contacts, family emergency lists, and things like that. If your cell phone dies in an emergency and you don't remember that number you might need, that becomes challenging. So if you have those written down somewhere, you want to make sure that's in a safe place and you know where it is.
As far as the emergency kit, would that include like water and food? What all would be in that?
Sure, great question. So, and I frequently carry this document prepared by FEMA with me to events and to give to people, because they actually do have a brochure with it, and it'll give you a full list of everything that you should need. But that list also includes information about your pets. If you have infants, you got to prepare for diapers and formulas and things like that. So really the list can be kind of tailored to your needs. For water, for example, they're going to tell you 1 gallon per person per day. So family of 4 using 1 gallon per day, 3 days is 12 gallons of water. People don't really think about that, but in an emergency situation, and we're out of, water's not running, or your electricity's not running to run your well, whatever it may be, you'll go through that water fairly quickly.
Right.
Another thing we encourage people to do is to prepare ahead and possibly fill their bathtub with water that you can use to either, possibly boil or just use for cleaning, whatever it may be. So that's another way to have extra water on hand.
Or maybe make sure your medical prescriptions are filled or things like that.
Absolutely. Again, that piece tailoring to those needs. Medical prescriptions, your eyeglasses, for example. If you wear glasses, make sure you have extra sets of glasses so you can read emergency information or whatever it might be. So yeah, there's a lot of things on that list, and you can expand that list as much as you want. You can spend $50, you can spend $150, depending on how far into it you get. But one of the things to consider is too, with food, if you have a lot of canned goods and you've got all kinds of canned goods in this preparedness kit and you don't have a can opener, then there's there's a problem.
Right.
So that list is nice because it's a checklist. You can scroll through it, and I'll just give you some examples that I pulled directly from the site. But cash and change is another one.
Oh yeah.
Sleeping bag or warm blanket for each person. Consider additional bedding, fire extinguisher, matches in a waterproof container. The list just keeps going.
Yeah. And I know you talked about, just a second ago, you talked about preparing your property, and I know like a windstorm, you would look out for things that might blow away. Like if we had a wind event, what kind of things would we look out for?
Right, so you want to make sure your umbrellas, your patio dining furniture is secure. A lot of times you see basketball goals blown over, things like that might damage a car or go out in the roadway. Yes. The new one that I've been seeing a lot, and we actually had recently, was trampolines in the backyard.
Oh my.
Actually had a trampoline blown up into the power lines. Oh, no. So really a scary incident, but ultimately, could be devastating. So those trampolines are very nice, but they become giant,
lightning rods.
yeah, right. So, I mean, and they pick up the wind and they'll just get carried.
Yeah.
So be very cautious if you have those. Make sure they're secure, staked down, however you do that. But that's one of those things to consider.
What if you're out when something happens? Let's say we're having a thunderstorm. There's lightning and thunder. You're in the car or you're on foot. What kind of things you should be aware of, actions to take to be careful?
Yeah, so ultimately, if you're in your car, that's probably a safe place. It's not necessarily the safest, but always encouraged to find a very sturdy structure, somewhere safe to take shelter throughout the storm. But definitely don't want you out in open space. Try to seek shelter as soon as possible. They say if you can hear the thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So you really want to consider that if you're out in a field, ballpark, whatever it might be. And then, of course, hopefully not on water, but if you're on water, get out of the water, away from the water, and again, find that shelter.
Well, another problem that we have, and I know we had it just 2 or 3 years ago when we had a hurricane come through, I think it was Hurricane Michael, and that was a lot of flooding that comes with the rain from a hurricane, and it is hurricane season. So talk about what we should do to kind of get ready for that kind of thing, or what we do when it happens.
Yeah, and flooding, I'm becoming very passionate about flooding, especially in the Roanoke Valley. We see it time and time again. Hurricane remnants, almost every year anymore. We see some sort of flooding within the Roanoke Valley. It's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. We cannot put the message out there enough, turn around, don't drown. Yeah. Again, I'll continue pushing that message time and time again until we get it out there that people understand, I can't see the road, I'm not going through that water.
And if something's happening, if we're having a weather event, if you don't have to be out in it, don't, right? Seek shelter.
Right, sure. The more we can stay indoors during these events, the safer we all are. Anything
I didn't mention that you want to remind folks about?
My office in emergency management is always willing to share information about this type of, these types of resources and things like that. And we do have brochures and flyers, and we have access to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, who can provide different brochures. So whether you're a business or a volunteer organization that wants more information to share with, staff or residents, things like that, we'll be happy to share information. So. And
what's that contact information for you?
So email at Trevor, Trevor.Shannon, SHANNON at RoanokeVA.gov, or the office number is 540-853-2426.
Well, it's very important information. Thank you for coming and telling us about today.
Sure, thank you.